First things first is hello, my name is Panya Parsons. So as it stands right now, I am the fitness director of this building you are seeing in, Fly Fitness, but that only started in January. Before that, I was running my own business called the Idle Biro, whereby I was drawing, very niche, large-scale faces, not much smaller than that panel, that mirror, hyper-realism, just in biro. That still is my weird thing that I do. So right now, I still do that, but part-time, and gym is my full-time job, which is funny because throughout my whole life, whether it be storytelling, fitness, or art, they've been three pillars that have just been constant throughout my life. One of them happens to be the thing that pulls in money. The others aren't, but what's weird is whichever one pulls in money, they all feel as serious to me as the other. So as it stands, this building pulls me in money. My art is my side hustle. And then in my free time, so my kind of not job, not paid for, but I take it seriously, is I'm a full-time athlete. So I specialize in jiu-jitsu specifically, weight training and long distance running being the accommodating sports with it. And then below that, not paid at all, but I do for the love of it, but still feels like things I would love to be paid for, is video editing. So filmmaking goes under the umbrella of storytelling, and skydiving, because every so often I like to recalibrate my hectic life by throwing myself out of a plane. So I felt a bit weird constructing this speech because a lesson I learned a few years back was don't talk about the bag until you secure the bag. You know, talk less, do more. The time spent buzzing with you about this idea that I'm going to do this and we can really get off on it is time taken away from actually starting it and getting on with it. When you get this idea, something that really excites you, a vision, a dream, naturally you call your friend, you call your sibling, you call your parent, and you get so excited with them, you bounce back and forth, they get you hyped up as well, and you get so hyped that you almost get a bit exhausted afterwards. Whilst that is, a positive feeling, our brains release the same dopamine hit you get from actually achieving the goal as you do talking about the goal. So what I see that as is it takes steam away from the action of achieving the goal. And so a goal without action is just a dream. And a dream is for bedtime. That's the way I see it. Today's plan is I'm going to split this talk into two sections. I'm letting you know that, so that when I begin the first one, which is more story time, and it might be a little bit hippie, voodoo, tree hugging for you, you're not kind of looking at your missus and being like, what the fuck have you signed me up to? Okay? We get to a full circle and there is context behind everything I'm going to share with you. And if I'm very honest, there are parts you'll see as I get uncomfortable, there's parts I'm not wild on sharing, but it is really relevant to then what I've come to learn and I want to share with you guys, okay? The first half of the talk is called Storytime. The second half of the talk is called Applicable Steps, okay? Now, story time isn't my life story. Don't worry, we've only got an hour. We're not going to be here, and it'll be very long. But I want to take you through the period of time that I got my MOT. Not my car MOT, my MOT. Now, is anyone here under 22? Oh my God, it's coming, okay? Right, so a few of you might be like, I don't really know what this life MOT is, but as I explain it, I think you'll be like, fuck, yeah, I've been there. Again, you too, you have it coming, okay? So, when you are in your teens, you turn the back, life is like an episode of Skins, the biggest drama is like going to school without your legs shaved, or are you in the top 5 of that boy you fancy, things like that. We think life is the hardest then, because it was like the easiest period of our lives and the most fun. Bills don't exist. Zac Efron is actually like attainable in our vision. You know what I mean, right? Okay, it's coming. The fuckery, it's coming. I've sworn like 5 times. We're fucked. It's going out the window, okay? So anyway, then life hits you. But this isn't the MOT. When life hits you, it's understanding that electricity bills don't magically pay themselves, all right? And it's realizing that photosynthesis isn't going to help you with the bailiffs, all right? This kind of thing. But again, this isn't the life MOT. I call this gap between your teens and real life the adaptation phase, when you're like, okay, I'm a big girl now, and I pay my bills, and I make money, and you're like, I can handle this. It's coming, okay? The MOT then happens. I can't tell you what your MOT is going to be. You don't know when exactly it's going to come. You don't know how it's going to come. And you don't see it coming, to be honest, until, like in my situation, I'm sitting having a curry with my mate, sharing the shit I'm going through, and she's like, mate, this is your life MOT. And I was like, it is. So for someone who likes sitting in discomfort, like, ooh, Wim Hof, I did a cold dip this morning and I ran before sunrise. That is me. I passionately dislike the discomfort of a cluttered mind, a messy room, and an unstructured schedule. Those things are, and to this day, no-goes. They're recipes for disasters. So my story is to explain some of the pain that forced me to change. So you're welcome, because I've suffered, so you all can learn, okay? That's how I'm going to see this. If you don't control your schedule, it will control you. If you don't control your mind, it will control you. If you don't apply action to dreams, you will never make it your reality. You won't go and do everything that I do because, first and foremost, it's not realistic for you to walk away with the applicable steps I'm going to give and try to do them all starting tonight. It's like a diet. When we go super strict tomorrow, it's not sustainable. But also, pre-warning, if when I sit here and tell you about all the magnificent things I do, you leave a little underwhelmed and thinking, how am I going to manage that? Let me just share with you. I'm single. I'm childless. I am petless. And I don't get laid anywhere near as much as I should, okay? Let's just share that now, all right? So, for those reasons, I got time, okay? I got time. I'm going to take you through what I do, the amount I do, how I do it, and if you just start by implementing one or two things, I promise you'll begin to minimize procrastination or better negotiate with productive procrastination. Story time. What I like is I don't really need to read this bit because I lived it. So this is broken into 3 consecutive phases contributing to me stepping into my power. Bear with me, because it starts with my tree-hugging hippie period. I went through a few impactful life moments, relatively close together when I was 22. This wasn't the MOT. This was too much, but it wasn't quite the MOT yet. I could do a whole talk about them, but to be perfectly honest, they are not, the stories themselves aren't relevant. It's just, I need you to know where I came from so that you understand that I didn't come from some privileged, healthy, whole background with a supportive structure. And then I'm like, it's not that hard, guys, just do it. So, firstly, cancer. I was alone on the other side of the world in Australia when I found out that I had 2 big tumours that immediately I had to have removed. And then I was like, do you know what? I think it's just better if I go back to Bath and be with my family. And they were like, they will rupture in the plane and you're flying into potentially chemo. I was like, right, oh, okay. So that's, fortunately though, one plus side is, it was a concealed tumours, which they managed to remove. The second was, unfortunately, straight after that episode, when it should be the best time of your life, I entered into a very toxic relationship. And again, I don't talk about it too much, but when I say toxic, not, he didn't text me back for 3 hours. I mean toxic as in, I'm pretty sure he's in prison right now. Haha, not haha, not the best. And so this was over a 3-year period, which brutally I don't know the best way to explain it. When you have all the ingredients to be this incredible person that I now realize I had, but you're not in alignment and nothing around you is in alignment with where you're destined to be. It was one of the most uncomfortable periods of my life, but I didn't know it because it was a slow Japanese drip torture that ate away at everything I was and should have been at the time. I was finding life pretty hard to understand. Spirituality wasn't on my radar at all at this point. And I started having this reoccurring thought in the back of my mind. Is this it? Is this what life's meant to be? Because I was like, I live in Australia and I have a boyfriend who loves me and I have a great job that pays me well and there's sun in the sky. And I was like, so maybe this is the peak of life and I just expected too much from it. But I kept suppressing it and I never told anyone. And I pushed it aside every time out of fear of just like not seeming grateful. Like, you just had cancer and you survived and you didn't lose your hair. Like, how can you say like, this is it? So I was like, just sit pretty, be a people pleaser and just, be grateful. And that's what I did. But I was massively dissatisfied with life. So kind of like magic in hindsight is like, I remember a book got sent to our apartment and it just got sent to the wrong address, but it had no name on it and it just had our door number. And I was just like, all right, I just chucked it to the side. And then like I'd be going to get a coffee and there'd be a podcast playing overhead and I'd just pick up like a snippet of what I'd say and I'd be like, ooh, okay, that was a bit hippie, but okay, that was interesting. So it started stirring my curiosity a little bit. And then spiritual people were literally put in my path and I feel like I had to meet you. And I'm like, all right, like, okay. But I was so unaware, but luckily as like a very open-minded person, I'm happy to be proven wrong and I am a yes girl. I've always been those three things. That I was like, well, do you know what, like, sorry, I'm willing to try anything if it's, my curiosity was leading me down this like uncharted route. And so my curiosity also was wanting me to figure life out and, ponder less conventional routes. So this happened for a couple of years and then skip forward to a very life-changing moment in 2018. So whilst I've talked about life impactful moments, and yes, naturally, everything that happens to you alters the course of your life, but this one moment will go down as it changed the course of fucking everything. I swear by that. So at this point, I'm with my partner and we're going for a partnership visa, $12,000. Don't be shocked, but I was forking out for it because it was something I wanted because I'm in his country. And I laid the deposit down. I had to step out of the country, so I went to Bali. And this was when I fully accepted that something is really wrong. And I'd been vegetarian for 2 years at this point, and I sat at this cliff top. I'm going to put this because I already know what happens. And I sat at this cliff top, and I was crying. And I was looking around, and there was couples so happy. And I was like, how are you, what am I missing? What ingredient have I not clocked onto yet? And I looked out, and this is meant to be in Uluwatu, Bali, like one of the best sunset views, it wasn't sunset at this point, of the southern hemisphere. And I was like, fuck life. So I ordered a double patty bacon beef burger. Because who cares? Oh, I'm a good person. Nothing's happening. I was like, nothing's happening, so what's the point? So I ate this burger, crying, while people making out next to me. And the best part was I wasn't even like, fuck you. I was just like, like juice pouring down my face. It's like, what am I missing? And then I had these chakra stones. I was really into it. I'd already done a bit of tree hugging and all that lot. But we're talking a couple of years. I'd really gone down this route. And so I was in my final bit, not that this was not a situation where I was going to do anything, but I was just I'm in hookup central and I'm willing to look like an absolute loony. I was I'm just going to go down to the ocean, wash my chakras, worship the sun, and then I'm going to lie on the beach. And I'm doing this all whilst crying. I was and I'm just going to do a chakra check. Which is funny because I was reading up on it when I was writing this. You're meant to start from the bottom. I went from the top, and that's probably where I went wrong, but everything changed in this moment. So I lay down, I'd washed my chakras, and there's kind of my blessings, and I was like, right, let's just clean the chakras. So I start up with my crown chakra. I'm like doing my like, then I get to my third eye chakra, and I'm like, oh, I am awake, da, da, da. Then I get to my throat chakra, and I'm like, straight up, that happened, right? And I'm lying there. So you and me, you were lying, the sun's there, and then I woke up, and the sun was down there. I swear, I know I sound nuts when I say this, hear me out, okay? I lived the next 5 years in this vision. It wasn't a dream. I swear it wasn't a dream either. When people say, it just wasn't a dream, I was like, no, a dream like sticks with you for like a few hours when it's an intense dream. But this dream ended up making me pull my visa immediately. I moved out of my apartment. I cancelled my payments to the apartment. I just woke up and I was like, and then you know when you want to remember a dream, you're like, oh, you were in my dream last night. You're like, oh, what was I doing? You're like, I don't know, but you were in it. You know, one of those where it just literally like gets sucked out of your memory. It was one of those. But I lived every minute of these 5 years and all of it was in Bath. And I was like, fuck. Because I was like, I'm about to leave like Australia weather for like British winter. And I was like, and I had this moment, I was like, do you know what? If I make this work, if I find my happiness in English winter back at home in Bath where it was, not anymore, the last place I wanted to be, I was like, I think I might just be able to crack on and move to other places and be happy. I don't know, but all I know that the vision was telling me I had to go there. Easy, pulled the visa, lost a lot of money. I did not care. 3 weeks later, I'd left Australia. Home was over. I was changing, it was all happening. That is what happened. And yeah, I sacrificed my whole Australia life. 5 years I spent there, 5 years. And I just knew in that moment, I've got to go home. I don't know why, but I have to go home. And then I lived happily ever after. Okay, chapter 2 of Storytime, the depression. So the same year that I returned to the UK is 4 years from now. There is not a single person in this room that I knew then. And even with the people I work and live with now, they did not know me then. I'd like to think that what I'm about to explain, you guys would be like, no way, yes way, it's coming. It's not, I really hope it's not. So just know, it's not a funny joke, but me and my brother no longer say, oh, this is rock bottom. We like slap each other before the sentence even finishes. We're like, that is something. There is always a trapdoor at rock bottom. Just, I'm sorry, there is. And kind of knowing that makes rock bottom not that bad. Because you're like, well, it could be worse, so I'm happy here. I'll figure this one out. And so, yeah, it's hard to talk about it. I actually really struggled to talk about my depressive episode because I am sitting in a room full of people and I'm like, I was depressed. It's really performative. I run a podcast about mental health where I try to give tips through each relatively short episode so that you can just get your quick fix when you're having a moment, a blooper, and just listen to that and be like, okay, I can keep going. But in all honesty, what they don't talk about depression is it leaves black holes in your memory. And I suffered with that quite a lot, and gratefully so, I think, in a way. So what I am going to do is read a journal entry I dug up. I had never reread this until it came to writing the speech. And as I say it now, it will be the third time that I've actually read it myself because when I was practicing, I read it once and I was like, ah. So this is from December 26th, 2018, a night that will go down in history for all the wrong reasons. I fucking hate everyone. I hate my upbringing. I hate my skin colour. I hate my mates moaning I never see them. I hate my ex more than ever. And I hate those random girls on social media getting on with life. No one deserves to be happy. No one is coming to save me. And no one will give me any credit for how much I've been through until it's too late. I want attention without asking for attention. The noise is so loud it's giving me a migraine, but no one is noticing me. I also want to be left alone. I'm sad because I knew life used to be more colourful, but right now it's old, dusty and aged. I am making the room ugly. I have £300 of filler and Botox in my face to hide the depression that permanently lay in the now distinct creases. But I'm still here scrolling all my ex's new girlfriends, ripping their looks apart in a pathetic attempt to make me feel better. I am a clown. Depression gave me Stockholm syndrome. I was its prisoner, but in time it became my only friend. And that's the really dangerous thing about depression in it, is it's very all-consuming. And for vulnerable minds, it does fester and it grows and then it becomes the host of your vessel. Now, I talk about my depression, which is circumstantial. It's situational depression. It's not chemical imbalance. So if anyone suffers the opposite, don't listen to me, okay? I'm not like, yeah, you just have to do this. So there are so many reasons out there. Like, life outside of our vessel is wired to suppress us and depress us so that we are prisoners to the system, to the consumerism, to buying all this stuff and buying into what it's telling us we need, which we don't. But it infiltrates weaker minds. Now, before anyone feels triggered or upset that I've used weaker minds as a term, it's actually no different to, I drank alcohol, I smoked, I've just been eating kebabs. So naturally, my immune system is a lot weaker. So why is it less offensive to call my immune system weaker, but then we don't like hearing that our minds are weaker? It's just an arsenal of tools that we haven't been on top of, we haven't cleaned, we haven't sharpened, and inevitably, just like training, don't use it, you lose it. That's what happens to your muscles. It's not offensive, it's just, okay, cool, here's a problem, let's create a solution for it, okay? If you don't sharpen your mental tools necessary to maintain a strong coping mechanism during inevitably testing times, because they will happen, regardless of how happy you are, what good streak you're on, they're going to happen. The depression will creep in. And of all the stuff I've spoken about, like alcohol, smoking, not training, depression is the silent killer, okay? We kind of don't know it's there until it's a little bit too late. The trick I learned is to lick your wounds. Be kind, self-soothe, but never acquire a taste for them. Do not get comfortable with depression because it's way too easy. So, after I wrote that insert, 1 week later, well, not 1 week, it was 4 days later, my brother comes into my room. I hadn't come out of bed for 3 days. And he comes up to me and he's like, Pani. So he was a trader, stock trader. And he comes up, he said, Pani, I've just won you £15,000. You'd think, right? And I was like, I don't come from money, so that's the most money I've ever seen in my life. But I was just like, I can't believe I don't care. But he was like, Pani, like, you didn't have that money 5 minutes ago. He said, so you could spend that on anything you want to make you happy. I was like, do you know, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to save it. I'm not going to save for a house. I'm not doing that. I'm going to spend £15,000 to find my happiness. And I did. I'm penny of it now. But 3 days later, I was on a plane to Portugal and I started my skydiving course. And I was like, do you know what? I want to throw myself out of a plane. But it sounds like a nice story to you guys. This was my dumb thinking, all right? Because now that I have my license, I realize how dumb this was. I was so weak, I couldn't even take my own life. So if I throw myself out of a plane, I leave it into the hands of God to decide if I'm worthy of being on this planet or not. Because you're more likely to get hit by a car than die skydiving. It's so safe, believe it or not. So the universe, it heard my prayers to get happy and thought, money isn't the answer to happiness. My first jump, I broke my leg. I swear to God. And you know, you're just like, buddy, trapdoor. This was it. Okay. So I was lying in bed. So thanks to a broken leg, I needed to be left alone, a prisoner to my mind, so I could face the demons within. That's what actually I needed to do. 6 weeks I was in bed, staring at the ceiling, and it was within a couple of days I just thought, well, we tried the spiritual thing, and this is 4 years ago now, so self-love wasn't so overused, and I was like, let's just try this self-love thing. At this point, I've got curtains, I've got cloths over my mirrors. I cannot even look at my face. It's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I do not want to fucking see it. So I was like, let's just try enjoying my own company. Let's try. And so, chapter 3 of Storytime, creating the perfect recipe. We've all wanted something so bad. We've all done it. The child within us does it. We're like, I really want that thing. And you close your eyes and you squeeze your eyes, you squeeze your fists like you're a little child. Or when you're in bed, you're sitting there thinking about it, you're like, I wish I get that thing, or I hope I get that promotion, or I wish I win the lottery. Wishing and hoping will do nothing, okay? Because unless we actively change our routine, we're not going to serve the dream. And the way I see it is wishing and hoping is a lazy man's method, okay? Spirituality had me unlocking the energy around me. Depression forced me to understand the energy within me. I've learned so much from these years that it was violating, truly, and exhausting, that even after I kind of came out the thick of it, I felt like my soul took a lot longer to kind of recharge. It took a while. But I began healing, and I began forgiving, and in time, and not all at once, I started understanding why every little thing had to happen to me. I understood why I had to get those tumours, and I understood why I had to be alone in the hospital when I woke up. And then I started to understand why I had to be with that man in particular, and he had to make me feel that way in particular for that amount of time. But some of it took me a lot longer. But this all then kind of ties into what became the productive routine. Life is short and time only goes faster as we get older. So I felt that the various traumas that I went through stole time that I can't get back, and in a really crucial time in my life, my mid to late 20s. So I developed habits that accommodate my schedule planning off the back of spirituality, mental wealth, and time efficiency. So I wrote this, I thought this was really good, really poetical of me. When challenged, replace the ego with the pragmatic in you. When inspired, replace talking with doing. When offended, replace feelings with facts. Okay? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If we're not happy with the life we're in, we need to start adapting things, changing things, as scary as it is, as unknown as it is, and as uncertain as it's going to be. If you're not happy with your current life or an aspect of it, let's try and change that. We made it through story time, guys. All right, phase 2 of the talk, applicable steps. So you have context as to why we've got here now, and you'll see my experiences bleeding into my habits. So we've got 2 kind of vibes with the 10 steps I'm going to take you through. One being a bit more spiritual, a bit more wishy-washy, but take it serious because it goes hand in hand with the pragmatic and strict parameters I implement off the back of never wanting to slip into that depressive state again, okay? The first is flavor, okay? And the second is the chef. That's the way I see it. But you need the balance of both, and let me show you how. So, I read this really cool quote when I was kind of making this. We tend to overestimate what we can do in one day and underestimate what we can achieve in a year, okay? So, here are my 10 tips. Realistically, I feel like I've got a million, but these are the 10 that I've done for the longest, I would preach the hardest about. And I put them into kind of consecutive order, whereby you can literally start number 1 tonight or on your walk home, not drive, don't text and drive. It's a bit of an obvious, but an iPhone to-do list. But not just like, okay, on Tuesday I'm going to do this, and then on Wednesday I'm going to do this. No, 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 no. We climb into bed, and our head's spinning with all the stuff you have to complete tomorrow, and you're like, oh, fuck, I forgot to do that thing, and I've got to make sure I dry the gloves, and I'd love to add that bit to my speech, and da-da-da. But you're in bed, so you want to sleep with an uncluttered mind. So you get your iPhone out, and in no order whatsoever, just unload all the little bits that are flying through your head. Put them on that list, okay? So that's the first thing I've written, unload. Number 2, well, not number 2, just little pointers. I feel like we've got loads of numbers going on here. Number 1 on the list. But still on the iPhone to-do list, unload. And then we're going to strip it even further back. Ignore work. Let's start with the self. We want to start with the obvious, okay? So some of you in this room might be like, I'm not a morning person at the moment. I'm going through stuff. I'm going through heartbreak. I'm going through grieving. I'm in a depressive episode right now. I'm just not in a great place. Okay, so what are we going to put in that list? We're going to put make our bed, brush our teeth, say 3 things we like about ourselves. But you're not just going to put them. You're going to put a bullet point, an empty bullet point, which you have to. I know on the iPhone, I know you can do it. You have to tick. We leave those empty. So when you wake up and you make your bed within 30 seconds, that's the first thing you're doing, you can tick that off. And then compared to old mate next door, within 30 seconds, you are already on a 100% success rate of accomplishing things that day. We're winning. We're already winning. Now you know why I'm so buzzed at 7 a.m. when I come to teach. So I've won so many times already. I'm like, I've remembered my keys. Yes. Okay? But ticking off, the physical motion of ticking a to-do list is satisfying as fuck. Sorry, that's totally like worthy of a swear word. It leads to a virtuous cycle of getting things done that bleeds into, it sets the tone for the rest of your day. When you experience a win first thing in the morning, you're more likely to build momentum and good vibes to carry you through to the rest of your day. Okay? So, you didn't make your bed. Well, you did make your bed, sorry. You didn't know about the list. You haven't got a list. We're no different. We've both made our beds. But I'm winning because I've scribbled something off my list. I know it sounds obvious with brushing your teeth, but this is the first steps. Respectfully, I don't put making my bed on there anymore because, much like training, I've been training it for a while. So I no longer need to use the resistance band when I do chin-ups. It's no different to that, okay? So, we start our day with an accomplished mindset. And that's within like 2 minutes of your day. And it takes no time whatsoever. Applicable step number 2, aeroplane mode on your phone. So, one spiritual lady I crossed paths with in my non-spiritual phase in the middle of my back and forth with my toxic ex. I was saying to her the anxiety I was suffering. Now, I don't actually suffer anxiety. I will say just normal anxious feelings, but I don't suffer anxiety. But I was so sleep deprived because of what this guy had put me through and how I was feeling that she said to me, so initially she did actually say I should sleep my phone on airplane mode because I already have so many things I'm battling when I'm trying to sleep that my phone doesn't emulate harmful EMF radiation emissions when it's on airplane mode. Therefore, that is one less thing I have to worry about affecting me in my sleep. And I was like, okay, I won't mention like my big TV screen and my laptop and everything else that's around me, but I was like open-minded. I was like, yeah, sure. I don't know why, but it ended up being the best night's sleep of my life. And I came to realize in time that it's because, and this is a point I'm coming into next, I wasn't giving them the power to contact me. I was, when I choose to take my phone off airplane mode, having the power of choosing when I choose to acknowledge these missed calls, messages, whatnot, okay? So for the like electronic reasons, yes, absolutely. Now, again, single, like a Pringles, I don't have to worry about anyone trying to contact me. But if I know on iPhones, if you put it on Do Not Disturb and you favorite important contacts, say if you're scared of needing to hear from someone in the night, those actually do come through. Okay, so that's a solution to what I'm a careless family member. I'm like, tell me in the morning, man. If something's happened to someone, I'm not going to be able to save them at 2 a.m. That's my really hot, and everyone knows where I live as well. I'm like, you'll have no harm in like waking me up. That's my third thing now, is proact, don't react. This is the same with social media, but I'm applying this right now to when we wake up. We don't want to be waking up, checking our phone. Oh my God, okay, I need to reply to that. Oh, and I'm already in trouble because I forgot to do that last night in my shift. No. Wake up. I made my bed. I brushed my teeth. I said my affirmations. I've ticked off the to-do list. I'm accomplished. I'm proactive. Now I'm going to deal with other people's shit. Okay? That's how I see it. Build the momentum. Much like training, we plateau, therefore we have to progress. So I'm not telling you, okay, you have to go home now, you've got to turn off your phone, and you've got to do all these things first. Just start with, I'm happy if you just sleep with airplane mode, and then you can turn it on as soon as you wake up. That will sometimes have to happen. But just be like, okay, because we all are secret little addicts. We want to look at our phone. It's like, okay, let me at least just make my bed first. Train yourself, okay? Just go make your bed so quickly, and you're like, yeah, I made my bed tick. Oh my God, I got my fix. That does not, like, I'm really amazing, but I still do that, okay? So, you want to build it up so that eventually you're like, okay, I'm not going to touch my phone until I've done 5 things on that to-do list. But don't get me wrong, if we get into it, there are multiple things. You're unloading so much on that to-do list. I'm talking about the 5 like micro things that is for yourself to start that day. I'm not talking about I'll have to finish this huge portrait and then I can look at my phone in 4 hours' time. It's a bit unrealistic. Number 4, cold showers. Look, I know half of Bath is hell-bent on going to like Wally Wheel or whatever it is and doing their like strongman training, which I'm all for. I've done it. I was that person for a long time. I'm talking about at the end of a hot shower, you blast that cold shower. I'm looking at you now because you give me a laugh, making me think I want you to do it. So you blast that cold shower. If I'm really honest, mine actually accidentally started because my parents refused to get the plumbing fixed during my depression as well. And they're like, no, you can pay rent and then your rent can fix it. And I was like, I moved home because I was depressed. And I was like, you then become, well, you don't even become more depressed. You're just like, so yeah, that section of the house had no warm water. Do you know how annoying it is when you get in at like 9 p.m? You're already cold with sweat. I would argue it is harder to cold shower when you're already cold. Coming from a hot shower, you're like, oh yeah, mental mindset, positive mindset. Yeah, I'm going to get into a cold shower now. And then I come back out into my nice warm house. I could see my breath before I even got into the shower. I was like, and I swear when I come out, nothing was rejuvenated. I actually looked more aged because it was so taxing on my soul. But I really mastered cold showering. So the point with cold showering is you genuinely actually can master whatever comes at you that day so much easier when the first thing you've done that day is the shittest thing you can do. And you chose to do it to yourself. It didn't happen by accident. And so I have made a list of like the obvious things that cold showering does. Skin rejuvenation, conditions your hair, ladies. It actually increases hair growth as well. That's one of the main reasons I stuck at it. In the morning, it increases your alertness, obviously. But in the evening, surprisingly, like, believe it or not, it regulates your body temperature so you sleep so much better. But you suffer for that short period of time to have a nicer time afterwards. So this is the road of delayed gratification that I'm going to touch on again shortly. The road of delayed gratification is doing something you don't want to do in that moment in order to be rewarded in the long term. And a lot of people don't want to do it. And so we eat that cake when we're on a diet because in that moment it feels so much nicer when it's in our mouth and then you're like, That is road of delayed gratification. But if you do that hard thing, I promise you everything else in the rest of that day is just going to feel a lot easier. You can be a lot calmer, handling whatever stresses the day throws at you. Now, I have spoken about affirmations a couple of times, but I haven't put them on the list because I know people are so like, I am strong. Who watched SAS? My ego. Thank you. All right, 2 of you. So I was on a TV show, guys, called SAS. There was 20 recruits, and 10 of them couldn't get over this ravine, and then I did. I was already preaching my spirituality long before that scene, and everyone was laughing at me, but I just went in with like proper big dick energy, and I was like, which was funny because had I failed, it would have been a really high fall. But I wasn't even entertaining that thought. And I go over the ravine, and affirmations didn't get me over the ravine, but it gave me something to distract myself with and focus on. And the words that come out of our mouths, we spell them, no? When you're writing, we're spelling words, correct? They are spells. We are literally creating magic through the words that we use. And so, rather than be like, oh, this is shit, I'm gonna fail, we're probably gonna fail, which is what everyone else is saying. I am brave, I am strong, I literally went over the whole ravine, and Foxy afterwards, it wasn't on camera, he goes, first time we'd spoken, I was like, oh my God, it's Jason Fox. He was like, what were you whispering to yourself? And you're like, I was like, because I looked like really hard, and I was like, I am brave, I am strong, and he was like, fuck off. And I was like, okay, righto. I let myself out. And all the blokes who went before me, big, mad CrossFitters, one's a firefighter, one, I don't know what he does, but he scares me. And they were like, how'd you get over it? Affirmations. No one wanted to hear about affirmations. The reason I'm so hell-bent on them is because it's the first step I took with trying to get out of the depression. I listened to an 11-minute YouTube, and I thought, this lady is whack, but I'm desperado, so I'm gonna try. And so you don't do this with someone, it's an activity you do on your own in a vulnerable state, and you pick 3 things that you hate about yourself, that you don't think about yourself. Those become your affirmations. And so, if we're honest, my 3 a while ago were, I am strong, not physically, just as a person. I am powerful, and I am beautiful. And I believe all these things now. I really do. So, linking it back to the cold shower, and with being proactive, not reactive, I'm choosing to have this cold shower, and I'm gonna make this shower my bitch. And you're like, I am strong, I am powerful. When that cold water is like burning your skin, I feel like it's the closest you'll get to like some proper like witchcraft. Which, yeah, like, man, my brother is like a lad. So imagine that, and he's like, Pani. But he supported it, he knew I was going through a thing. And so, I dare you, you're gonna laugh when you're doing it, but there you go, you're smiling. Like, there are so many things that you win in trying this, okay? There's no losses here. So when you have your cold shower, whilst your phone's still in aeroplane mode, and you're feeling all accomplished because you took loads off, just do it. Come on, I dare you. I dare you to be like, I am strong. I'm badass. Don't say, I am not this. Not is a negative, and then you're entertaining the words you don't want to be. We don't entertain any of that, okay? I am this. Don't you even dare say, this is cold. No, it's not. We're faking it till we're making it. It's not cold, don't even hurt. What, you're like, not dying? Definitely not. Number 5, eat that frog. Has anyone read the book, Eat That Frog? A couple of nods, I love it. Okay, so Eat That Frog. The first hour of the morning, when your energy and willpower are high, is a hell of a lot more productive than the hour after lunch. Eat the Frog ensures that you are using the best hours to do your most mentally taxing work. Okay, we've got a little to-do list on our iPhone. That's a separate thing. We're talking now about work. Most likely it's work, or the big task at hand for your day. So when I was an artist, it would be drawing a big piece. But I had like a few invoices to send, a few mock-ups to create. You best believe I avoided that big old face looking at me, and I was like, what else can I productively procrastinate with? So I didn't mind, because I was productively procrastinating, but I knew the longer I left that big old frog, it was gonna be so much harder to do. But if I just, you just gotta be so disciplined, which you learn with cold showering, by just doing it, making it your bitch. You go do that with the hour, yeah. You just adopt this attitude. I hope you all don't walk around doing that because it's so unattractive. But that's what we're gonna do. Now, when we talk about said frog, it's 2023, people have multiple jobs. They don't just have their one, I don't know. You have mit and mut. Most important task, and most urgent task. So as it stands, I am training for a competition, jiu-jitsu, in 3 weeks. But also as it stands, I am implementing a lot of social media content right now, which is quite urgent, which in turn is going to result in more numbers in the gym, which is making me better at my job, I have KPIs to meet. Realistically, no offense to Fly, the jiu-jitsu comp is more important to me. It's a goal. It's something that sets my soul on fire and something I want to accomplish. And it's more important because I have a comp in 3 weeks. But say tomorrow I finish work at 12 and then I run up the hill and I have jiu-jitsu at 12:30. If I do not get my most urgent job complete, it comes above the important job. Okay, the way I see it is it's subjective versus objective. Whilst you might think something is the most important thing, I'm not going to be able to pay for my jiu-jitsu membership and my comps and my uniform if I'm not doing my job that brings my bread and butter in, if I'm not doing that properly and to the best of my ability, okay? It's a slightly different one. If so far you've liked what you heard, I advise you listen to this podcast, Elizabeth Day, season 3, episode 3 with Mo Gordat. Really incredible podcast. This next one I learned from him, naming your brain. Okay, so this isn't necessarily a physical applicable step. This is a internal thing. It doesn't matter how on a roll you are or how good you're doing with stuff. Naturally, sometimes our brain likes to test us, play tricks with us. You know, when you're in the shower and you're having an argument with your shampoo bottles, that kind of thing. So you need to name your brain so that you identify the difference between if it's actually you or if your brain testing you, okay? And so in this podcast, the guy calls his name Becky. So then I started calling my name Becky. And then now my flatmate's called Becky, so I reverted to then calling my brain Panya, because that's what my mum calls me when I'm in trouble. So then I'm like, Panya, and I'm like, ugh. So when you catch yourself doing that, and a really good example is I've been off social media for 5 months, and then I was just doing something earlier when I was finishing this off, and I don't know what I did because I haven't been able to get on my social media. I clicked the wrong account and my social media just opened after 5 months, and I was like, huh. And then my not bad ex, a lovely ex, we left on good terms. His is the first story, so I instinctively just clicked it. I did not need to see him all happy with another girl. And I was like, and I had this moment, and then for like a minute, I was just like, and then I was laughing because I was writing this chapter, and I was like, it's a Panya. Like, we got shit to get on with. I was like, you're entertaining this narrative which actually doesn't matter because he's happy, you're happy. Why? Like, that's not me, how I feel. It's my brain playing tricks on me. It's trying to stall me because I'm on a roll right now. It doesn't want that. We want to be comfortable, relax. Just sit down. You don't want to do talks. You don't want to step out there into the unknown. Your brain's really good at doing that. It wants to, it's backwards. It's trying to protect you, but in a really horrible way. So name your brain. And if I notice if your tools are a little unsharpened, let's say, it's harder to get a control over that. So what we do is we click. It's so annoying right in your ear. And you do that because you are literally cutting the thought cycle. You're breaking it. You're, Panya, we're not doing that. We've got stuff to do. And you're like, and you actually do snap out of it. It's a really cool thing. And so if you see me pondering around doing this, feel free to come just distract me with a story. I need it. All right, number 7. If you come to my classes, you'll hear me say this so many times. What I love about number 7 is I use it in everything, not just fitness. I use it in everything. Negotiate. Negotiate. This, what I'm going through, sounds quite highly strung. It's not. It's not when it becomes second nature. But naturally as well, when you are being so productive, you're doing so much and you're getting on with everything and you're accomplishing so much, you have earned times that you get to be like, I kind of don't feel like doing that today. And then you reflect and you see, I did do that and I have done that and I have been on a winning streak. Okay, do you know what? I've earned that. So, during your workout, when scrolling Instagram, when blocking work time frames, you are allowed to negotiate with yourself, but you have to earn that negotiation. The problem is people want to negotiate way too early, before we've even got momentum, before we've got the ball rolling, before we've actually taken quite a a head start where we can afford to take a little negotiation. So, for example, in fire, I had a chick did come, a month or so ago. Made it through halfway and then had to leave. Hadn't come back to fire since. And then the other day, she comes back to fire. And when she came back, my negotiation with her is she did something that a lot of people who leave fire and never want to come back never do. And that's, she came back. And she waited until it was the right time to come back. And she knew she was confident enough to. And she came back. What's even better, it happened to be a day that everyone else was like dying. So she thrived, okay? She cleaned up in that class. And with no struggle. Yeah, it was hard. Fire's hard. It's hard for everyone. But she absolutely smashed this class. And the cool thing was, it was where anyone else, I'd be like, oh, how to do this. My negotiation on her first class back was, you've made it through. If you need to just rest a little earlier or you go a little slower, you can. You've earned that, okay? So that is earning a negotiation. I've got a Depop addiction. It's like AA, guys. So I got a bit out of hand over Christmas. None of you know your staff, but you're not behind the desk. I have to start changing the names to the packages because I don't want people knowing how bad it's got. It's really bad. So I was like, this isn't even a money problem. This is I've got a bad habit problem that I need to sort out. So I kind of negotiated myself. I was like, right, Panya, you can buy whatever you want on Depop until, well, first, you got to sell that shit over there. And when you make the equivalent, you can buy whatever you want for the equivalent of the clothes you've got piled there that you don't touch. So I've got a Depop pile I need to sell. And I'm being lazy, I'm not doing it. So I'm like, I love it because I feel like I'm like Jekyll and Hyde. I'm like, fine. And it's cool. Well, do you know what's funny, actually? I just haven't bought anything on Depop because I'm too lazy to sell that stuff. So that's become my negotiation. It is, and it's a fair negotiation. If I want to buy those shoes for 100 quid, I've got to sell all those tops for like £5 each until I make enough. That's effort. Those 100 quid shoes don't look that good anymore, okay? Late night jiu-jitsu. So that's a negotiation to break a habit. Negotiating with delayed gratification. You can do it, but some negotiations aren't worth it. But you've got to kind of set them so that you still stay strict, okay? So with my new shifts with work, I either work 6 a.m. to 2 or 12 till 8. So it means I miss the best class at jiu-jitsu, which is our lunchtime classes. So now I've either got to go at 8 a.m., like 5 hours before my work shift when I really don't need to be up, or 8 p.m., 5 hours after my other work shift when I really could be in bed. And it's really annoying, but I have no option. No option is the best motivation. So that's my first problem, is I've got to pick between the two. So sometimes I'll finish work here, I'll go home, I'll chill a little bit. I'm not negotiating because I've worked really hard and I've run a marathon and maybe I should rest. I'm negotiating because I just don't want to go. I'm tired, I've rested now. And so, okay, you don't have to go. Okay, but if I don't go tonight, have a nice night, relax. If you're not going to go, don't go and enjoy what you're going to do instead. But you've got to get up at 7, you've got to run up that hill and get there for 8. And I'm like, I hate the 8 a.m. class. I hate it because no hot guys go. That's my other incentive. All the hot guys go at 8 p.m. That's another incentive. And I'm like, So I'm sitting there and I'm like, and do you know what? Sometimes I will bail and I'll do the 8 a.m. instead. And I regret it every time. I'm like, and that's a road of delayed gratification. You can negotiate with it, but you're signing up knowing that the second option's not the better option. But in that moment, you've got to decide if you're going to be disciplined, suck it up and go do that hard thing, and then enjoy the next day. Because I've never regretted an 8 p.m. class, okay? So these are 3 different types of negotiations, but you've got to get to that point first. You've got to get that head start, you've got to get ahead of the game, you've got to be consistent, you've got to know that you're disciplined enough that then you can start the negotiations with yourself, okay? Point number 8, Parkinsons Law. I love this one because I work really well under a deadline because I leave everything till last minute. So, the idea, do people know what Parkinson's? Sorry. I think it's because it's so hell-bent of what I do. So it's the idea that work expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. So, can you do this job for me? I'll pick it up next week. You're going to chill all week. I need it in 3 hours. You're going to get it done in 3 hours. That's a pretty cool thing. Earlier, I hadn't washed up from last night. Becky's been away, so I've been like, it's relaxed. And then I knew I had an allocated time to give this attention before I had an allocated time to do nothing and sit in the dark and maybe watch some murder podcast to rest before this talk. And so I was like, I've only got a very small time here to do the washing up. So I put my food in the microwave. I set my chicken for 3 minutes. I thought, I've got 3 minutes to do this washing up. I did most of it. But I hate cutlery, so I left the cutlery. But I did it. And what's funny is I've been looking at that since last night. And I hadn't touched it. But then as soon as I was like, Parkinsons Law, boom, I realised I sound really annoying. But I get shit done. So that is what Parkinson's Law is. Number 9, we're coming near the end. Number 9, I'm going to show you this one. Colour-coded time blocking schedule, okay? If you don't have a picture of yourself from your screensaver, tell me you're out of depression without telling me you're out of depression. Okay. So, I have quite, it's not a hectic schedule, it is a hectic, it's a bit hectic. But the importance with time blocking, so whether you have multiple jobs, whether you have kids, and so regardless of what my jobs are, it's no different to other things you have that I might not have. So I colour code and I time block, starting with the things that I cannot manipulate, like my shifts here. So this is, I'm going to take you to like a hectic week, which I managed to maintain. That is a week. So orange is my shift, I work at Fly. Pink is the classes I teach. That's the most important things. I can't change those things. Those are set in stone. I can't manipulate them to my liking. Then around that, at the moment, the second most important thing is my jiu-jitsu. So that gets slotted in. I do it one at a time in order of what is most important to me. Not most important and urgent. Then yellow is drawing. These are pieces, commissions that have been paid. And then separate to that is my long distance running, which is green. And then my mates training and weights training with Lily in blue. And then I have other stuff, which is like appointments, social, no social on there. It always gets shoved that way, I'm like, no. But then I have important social, like mum's birthday, where you're like, I can't negotiate with that. So the whole point with this, the reason I colour code it as well. So 2 things. 1, we block it out. I'm stressing because I've got, this is before, I still have it. Bruce Lee, I haven't finished this big piece for a client. I don't want to be worrying about that whilst I'm trying to give someone fitness advice in a class. I don't want to be worrying about that when I'm trying to run the social medias for Fly. I block this stuff out, similar to when we do the checklists at night, so that it's out of my mind. I know I've secured its position in my schedule, so that whatever I have to do on that day, that is my task at hand, and that is where 100% of my focus is going to go. Same with when I'm down in the thing, I've now created a sign at the desk. I do not leave the class to come to the desk. My attention is every person who's made it into that room. That is more important than seeing who's come to the desk, okay? Now, the reason I colour code it as well, again, don't worry if it's jiu-jitsu or if it's playtime with your kids. The reason I do it is so that naturally, and I do this, is if I've happened to negotiate and I didn't go to jiu-jitsu, I delete that out. I'm not kidding myself and looking at my week, I do this and then I don't actually do any of it. I delete it out for my own vision so that I know when I reflect back on my week, okay, there's not many reds there at all. I have a comp coming, and whilst I thought I'd been to jiu-jitsu loads, I actually only made it to 1 8 a.m. class. It's so I can visually see, okay, there's no yellow there. I've done no drawing this week, and that means I'm behind. Don't like that, makes me a bit anxious. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is the next week. So it's kind of like a pie chart in my mind of like, I can see a sufficient amount of orange, yellow, and red, which are my primary focuses. And then I get Lily's work routine for the week. She sends that to me on a Sunday, Monday. And then I cross-reference it to see where we can slot in minimum 2 sessions a week. So then we slot that in. I'm like, okay, so I've got my weight session in it. It's doing these little things that put your mind at ease so that once, and I do this on a Sunday, or sometimes when rotas comes out, I'll just naturally fill it in, so then I can go about filling it in. And just like for context, like that is next week as it stands. We haven't sorted our training yet. I haven't, off the back of knowing when I'm going to weight train, planned when I'm going to long distance. But what is in there is a doctor's appointment, fly, and jiu-jitsu. Those are non-negotiables, okay? So you bring all your mental resources to bear on one thing at a time. That is the most important thing. Rather than spreading your attention thin across several tasks. So even if you have loads to do, you are giving it your all in that moment in time. And it's also cool because it means then Tess, the owner here, knows I have a million things going on, but she knows as well, when I am here doing my job, I'm not training if it's a quiet patch, I'm doing my job. But she also knows when I'm training, I'm not helping with work. That sounds horrible, but that's the negotiation. I'm going to give you 100% of myself, but you need to respect the 100% I'm going to give the other tasks I'm doing. So that's a big one that I'm really quite hot on. It is proven a 40-hour time-blocked week on estimate produces the same amount of output as a 60-hour plus work week pursued without structure. Give that some thought. That was really interesting. So again, that takes me, obviously if you've not done it before, it's going to take you a little bit longer. Like I literally got an Excel sheet and I put the timings that suit me. There's a million apps for it, but I know how I like to look at things. I know how my brain works. This is what suits me when I do it exactly myself. Tip number 10. It's really important, this one, guys. Treat yourself, okay? I have been on a chocolate ban, along with my Depop ban. These are my Achilles heels. For 4 days, me, Tess and Becky. Becky has fallen so hard off the bandwagon. Well, that bitch owes me 300 burpees. It's 100 burpees for every day you eat chocolate. So, yeah, she didn't think I saw the wrapper in the bin. And me and Tess, the owner, are very intense people. Messaging Tess off the private chat, Becky's eating chocolate. We wonder why no one wants to hang out with me and Tess. So anyway, I knew, so I've had a mega 3 weeks, I'd say, with work, jiu-jitsu, and art. To the point, were you in my class this morning? No, you guys, were you? Oh, it was so long ago. This is what's happening. That I was a bit of a hot mess. My brain was, I had to actually ask a member how many laps they'd done and where she's going next. And I was like, I'm just going to be DJ in the corner and cry a bit. My brain's so frazzled that I was actually nervous I wasn't going to deliver this speech as well because I'd run myself down so much. But I knew I was going to make it because I could do it. So I got an Easter egg waiting for me at home. I earned it. I earned that. And then I'm working tomorrow morning. I'm opening. That's my last hurrah. I always work every Saturday, I teach. Lily's covering my classes. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. But I'm chilling the whole weekend because I've earned it. I don't have a structure. All I know I'm doing is going to my 2 jiu-jitsu classes, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Otherwise, I'm waking up when I want. When you have so meticulously planned stuff and you give 100% to it, you give 100% to resting as well. Obviously, don't overdo it. You negotiate and you earn that negotiation. I've earned my weekend off. I just want to read my book. That's all I want to do. I'll read my book, I want to train jiu-jitsu. If I feel like doing more, I'll do more. But I'll decide in that moment. Because we can't have strict structures all the time. Just like a diet, it's not necessarily cheat days because you're not doing anything wrong. You're actually doing it right. Okay, and it's not the most important thing. Balance is the most important thing. So I'm going to leave you with this. So I wrote this in my journal as I started realising I was coming out of my depression, okay? And if you're not sure what that feels like, it's not a big thing you recognise. I just remember I heard a song on the radio and I just never realised music could sound so good. It was weird because I've never been a big music person, but how passionate I am about my fire class playlists. It's not for you guys, it's for me. I'm having a party in the corner. And it links to that. So now you've got a bit of context as to why I love my music down there. So yeah, when the depression started fading, music sounded better, and colours literally just looked more vibrant. I started liking to wear colours. I now have a yellow rug in my room because I love the colour yellow. I didn't, I just do now. And it is actually a colour that represents happiness. How cute is that? So I'm going to leave you with this. This is what I wrote as I realised I was coming out of my depressive state. Deep down, you know exactly what you are capable of. There's even moments where you get a glimpse of all the potential you have. You can get there. You just have to be willing to sacrifice the habits, things, and situations standing in the way of your success. And 99% of the time, that's you. Thank you, guys.